Hi, this is Kasturi De. It's the continuation of the chapter Habitat and Adaptation, and this is the according to ICSE syllabus class 6, and this is the adaptations in the desert habitat. I'm continuing with it. Now, deserts are very hot and dry habitats. Camels, the ship of the desert, is one of the well-known examples of the animals living in the desert. The physical features of the camel are leg, foot is large with a pad-like sole to facilitate walking on the slippery sand and does not sink. The legs are long and to help them to run on the sand quite fast. They have long feet to keep the body away from the hot sand. Hump, it's filled with fat to serve as the reserve food. Due to this, it can remain without food for several days. During that period, the fat in the hump serves as a source of energy. This adaptation helped the camel to stay alive in places of scanty or no vegetation for long distances at a stretch. Eyes, provided with long eyelashes, this protects its eyes from the harsh sun rays and from the sand in the desert. Nostrils, they remain closed so that the sand cannot enter inside. The lips are thick, which enable to eat the cactus. The water-saving methods found in the camel is to cope with the water scarcity. What are the water-saving methods? It urinates very little and very thick urine. When deprived of water, it passes out very little urine, several times less than normal, and it is quite thick. Semi-dry feces. The dung passed out is quite dry. Perspires very little. It can tolerate high outside temperatures from 40 to 45 degrees centigrade. Its own body temperature can go up to 41 to 42 degrees centigrade, and therefore the need to perspire is reduced. Slow breathing. Certain amount of moisture is always lost due to evaporation in the respiratory passage during breathing. Slower the rate of breathing, lesser the loss of water as water vapor in the air breathed out. So the camel breathes slowly. Water storage in muscles. The camel's muscles can withstand the shortage of water and can shrink considerably. Once the water is available, the camel can drink sufficient water and the muscles swell up. Water from the fat of the hump. While starving, the fat is oxidized to yield energy as well as water. Heat tolerance. It can raise its body temperature from 4 to 5 degrees centigrade higher than the normal body temperature when it is hotter outside with no harmful effect. In this process, saves water that could have been lost by perspiration. Other desert animals, example, desert rat, snakes, etc. Mostly hide in the burrows. They mostly hide in the burrows to avoid day heat. They come out only in the night to search for food. Now, cacti, singular, it's cactus. It's the desert plant. Succulent plants. There's a succulent plants, that is, they store water in their fleshy tissues and depend on the stored water for photosynthesis. They are adapted to hot, dry conditions in several ways. The leaves, they are reduced and are in the form of spines. They help in reducing water loss from the leaves through transpiration. The stem, the green leaf-like structure is the stem. Its photosynthesis is carried out by the thick green stem covered with a thick waxy layer. They are covered with thick waxy layer which helps to retain the water. Roots, their roots are long. They go deep down into the soil for absorbing water. Now we come to the adaptations in the mountain habitat. Here it's normally very cold and windy. In certain months, they remain snow-covered. Large variety of plants and animals are found in this region. pine, fir, cedar, etc. Pine and fir, these are big trees. They are normally cone-shaped and have sloping branches. The leaves of the pine are needle-like. They help the rainwater and snow to slide off easily and in water conservation as the ground surface is rocky. The animals, like the mountain animals like yak, mountain goat, yak, they have thick skin covered with fur to protect from cold. The mountain goat have thick fur on their body, including its feet and the toes. They have strong hooves for running up on the rocky slopes of the mountain. The oxygen content in the mountain air is thin, so the blood of the most animals contain more red blood cells. This helps them to breathe in sufficient oxygen even when the air pressure is low. Some hibernate or go for long winter sleep when the temperatures are very low. This way, they conserve energy and survive the winter without food. For example, frogs and hedgehogs which hibernate. An adaptation to the aerial habitat. Example, birds, bats, and some insects. To fly, the adaptations are they possess wings, possess corresponding flight muscles, possess a streamlined body to encounter least resistance while flying in air. The birds, the body shape. They have streamlined body, the neck stretched forward with the head pointed in front and a narrow tail at the end provided them a sleek shape. Smooth body surface to minimize resistance against air. The wings, the forelimbs are modified into wings. The whole length of the forelimb carries long flight feathers. The steering and the brakes, the feathers on the tail help to slow down the speed and also help in steering, that is the changing direction. Wing muscles, they are the strong, active and enlarged breast muscles. They support and help in the movement of the wings, cutting down the body weight. Except for the most necessary bulky heavy wing muscles, the rest of the bird's body tends to be light to facilitate flight. The bones have air cavities, that is the bones are filled with air. Much less water is required in the body. Excretes solid urine in the form of uric acid instead of urea, otherwise would have required much water to be excreted out. Now we come to the adaptation in seeds for transport through air. New plants grow from seeds. Seeds are produced in large numbers. They germinate into baby plant. Tiny plants gradually grow into full plants. But if all the seeds produced by a plant are dropped into the soil around the plant, only a few will germinate while most will die. This is so because the limited space around the plant has limited amount of water and mineral salts in the soil, which may be enough only for a few seeds. The majority of the seeds will be deprived of enough nutrition to germinate and will die. This is where dispersal of seed is required. Then what is dispersal? The distribution of seeds far away from the parent plant. This avoids overcrowding. This dispersal avoids overcrowding. Otherwise, the seeds will all fall near the parent plant and will not germinate because of insufficient space, water, and nutrients. Example: cotton, poppy, and drumstick. These seeds are light. They have silky hair or wings so that they can easily be carried away by the wind. This comes to the end of the chapter of habitat and adaptation. Next video will be of class 7 chapters ICSE syllabus. Thank you. Ja.